Good morning, everybody. Yes, we are back. We hope you've wintered well, but I'm pleased to say that Trent Bridge Live is here once again to bring you live ball-by-ball coverage of every non-televised home game throughout this 2025 campaign. And of course, we start with the Red Ball and the County Championship Division 1 clash here at Trent Bridge between Nottinghamshire and Durham. And I'm pleased to say that the captain, Hasib Hamid, shall I say, has finally made his way over.
Oh, apologies.
That's all right, I'll let you know. How are we, Has?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Good. 1 out of 1. You've won the toss. You've elected to bowl. How are you feeling? Day one, first day county championship.
Yeah, no, I was really excited. Yeah, it feels like it's been quite a long wait, obviously, since last time we were here doing this. So no, I've been excited, and I think the boys are ready.
How's your winter been? How's the team's kind of winter preparations been? Obviously, some here in England, but then, you know, a trip to Abu Dhabi as well. How's the preparation gone this winter?
Yeah, good, really good. Obviously, we have quite a unique sport where we have quite long winters and long breaks away from playing competitive cricket as a group. So, yeah, I guess lads go off and do their own thing for quite a bit of it, but Abu Dhabi's quite a nice one for us to all get back together and yeah, train together as one squad, and that was really nice for us to do. And yeah, we've had a couple of games since we've been back, which has been nice. And yeah, hopefully it bodes as well for the start of the season.
Kind of just looking back briefly at 2024 and sort of the aspirations for 2025, where do you feel you know, your captain, your team, where do you want to kind of see this team go in this county championship?
Yeah, I guess the one thing that we've spoken about is, you know, seeing definite progress. You know, we've had a couple of years where it feels quite transitional. We've lost a lot of big players. We've had some new faces come in, but now it feels like we've got much more of a settled squad. Despite the new faces joining us, it feels like a great group of lads who are all chomping at the bit, who have now played enough cricket to know their way around the game as well, and hopefully that, you know, that shows in the field and we can put in some performances.
Obviously that performance starts with Durham here, day one, first session. Is it just about kind of clarity in that first session?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, obviously, yeah, I guess there's going to be quite a few different emotions knocking about this morning. Excitement, nerves, I'm sure. So yeah, I guess it's controlling all those things and yeah, sticking to the plans that we've got. And I'm sure the boys will do that, and hopefully we can get off to a good start.
Well, we hope that as well. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll let you go because you've got quite a way to go now, haven't you? Where you go.
No,
so thank you very much to the captain, Hasib Hamid, there. So just to reiterate, it was Notts that won the toss and they have elected to have a bowl. So it's all changed here at Trent Bridge. The pavilion is being redeveloped, so the players are over there in Rad Road. So we are bringing you different pictures this coming season, but let's tell you about the 11 players that are representing Notts in today's fixture. And we've just seen him there. It is the captain, Hasib Hamid. He will lead out the team very, very shortly. Next up, number 26 is Ben Slater. Freddie McCann, he's had 200 in 6 appearances last season, a big impact from Freddie McCann last season. Joe Clark, number 33, he keeps wicket in this fixture against Durham. Number 30 is Jack Haynes. Number 14 is Matthew Montgomery. And then looking to reach 3,000 runs this season will be number 8, Lyndon James. Now the overseas for this first few fixtures is number 11, the New Zealander Fergus O'Neill. And then, of course, Josh Tong, number 24, makes his long-awaited debut. A difficult season for him injury-wise last season, but it's great to see Josh Tong out there very, very shortly. And then the leading wicket-taker for Notts last season was Dylan Pennington. And then a player, he wears number 7 this season, and he made a big impact at the end of last season. That is, of course, Farhan Ahmed. So they are the 11 players that will be making their way down the steps in the Rad Road stand very, very shortly to face Durham openers. So that's about it. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands very, very shortly of 2 people that I know they've been absolutely dying to speak to each other. They've wintered very well, but your commentary team for this fixture against Durham is Martin Emerson, and it is the voice of Nottinghamshire cricket. It's the one and only Dave Bracegirdle.
Well, hello everybody and a very good morning. Welcome to Trent Bridge. Welcome to the start of the 2025 County Championship cricket season. Nottinghamshire at home to Durham in the first game. Hope you're all well and you've been looking forward to the cricket season. The weather has played ball. It's a lovely morning here in the East Midlands. We're going to start on time, and the news from the middle is that Hasib Ahmed, the Nottinghamshire captain, has won the toss and asked the visitors Durham to bat first. So the players striding out to the middle from their 2025 homes down below us. They're at the Radcliffe Road end of the ground this season because, of course, of the pavilion redevelopments throughout this year and into the first part of next. So the players housed at the Radcliffe Road end. The team news for Nottinghamshire, first of all, is that they give debuts at long last to Josh Tong. He signed for the county actually in the summer of 2023 there, leaving Worcestershire. Didn't play at all last year due to injury, but he starts. He's been awarded his full county cap. And the other debutant for Nottinghamshire, the Australian, the Victoria all-rounder, is predominantly a right-arm swing bowler but can score some useful runs. Fergus O'Neill, he comes into the lineup as well. Kyle Verreiner, the second overseas player, not here yet. Western Province are challenging for the domestic four-day title in South Africa and have a game to play. He has stayed in South Africa, as has David Bedingham for Durham. We're going to get underway with Alex Lees on strike, Dylan Pennington bowling from the pavilion end, the Stuart Broad end, and the first runs here at Trent Bridge this season go to the left-hander Lees as he runs it down to third man. And we are up and running with Durham getting 3 on the board. So Nottinghamshire have Hasib Ahmed, the captain, Ben Slater, Freddie McCann, Joe Clark with the gloves for this game, Jack Haynes, Matt Montgomery, Lyndon James, Fergus O'Neill expected to bat at 8, Farhan Ahmed, the prodigious young off-spinning talent, and the two former Worcestershire players, Josh Tong and Dylan Pennington. Durham with 2 left-handed openers out there. Alex Lees, you've already heard me mention. Ben McKinney is just taking strike. Emilio Gay, a close season signing from Northants, although he did play for Durham on loan the last month of the season last year. He'll come in at 3. Here's Pennington in, bowls down the leg side, taken by Clark. There's no run, 3 without loss. Will Rhodes, Ollie Robinson, Colin Ackerman, whose birthday it is today, former Leicestershire man, Ben Rain, Graham Clark, Paul Coughlin, who we saw a little bit of during an injury-laden couple of years with Notts a few years ago, Matt Potts and George Drissell. The spinner, Callum Parkinson, has been named as the 12th man for Durham. So you're up to speed with the 2 starting 11s. Third ball of the morning bowled now by Dylan Pennington. That goes through to the keeper. Umpires Nigel Long at the standing end, the pavilion end, and young Bumble, Graham Lloyd, is at square leg. Scorers are Ian Smith and Paul Connolly, and the match referee, another one who had Nottinghamshire connections during an illustrious playing career, is Peter Such. Let's have 3 slips. Lyndon James at first, Freddie McCann at second, Matthew Montgomery at third, and they all crouch down now as Pennington, fair-haired, tall man with good pace, bowls to McKinney, who eases this into the offside, and there's no run. There's an update for Radio Nottingham. Yes, lovely morning to herald in the start of the County Championship season, and Notts have won the toss and are bowling. Durham 3 without loss in the first over. 2 debutants for Nottinghamshire. Josh Tong, after an injury hit 2024, at last makes his Notts debut, as does Fergus O'Neill, the Australian. Durham 3 without loss. Pennington in once more. And ball on off stump, just safely negotiated, run down to Ben Slater at backward point, and there's no run. Playing service with some tinges of green, as you always get here, but looks in good order. There's a short boundary out to the Smith Cooper stand, the Bridgeford Road side of the ground, just 50 yards to the blue board over on that side, the Trentbridge.co board. Shortish boundary, and that's where McKinney was looking to aim it, but Farhan Ahmed cuts it out. 3 runs from the first ball of the day. 3 runs from the first over of the day. Durham up and running here on BBC Radio Nottingham. I'm Dave Bracegirdle. Will be joined in the fullness of time by Martin Emerson from BBC Radio Nottingham. Matt Henry, also from BBC Sport Online, will be popping in to keep us company throughout the day. What is a really lovely morning weather-wise. Good number of patrons already inside the ground, and those that are here are going to get a first glimpse of Fergus O'Neill, and a good round of applause as his name is read out over the tannoy. The new Australian. He was leading wicket taker in the Sheffield Shield, the winter we've just had, the Australian summer. Hugely talented, got a blossoming CV down under, and his first ball goes past Alex Lees and through to Joe Clark. Whippy action. Expected to go well here. He's with Notts for the first 4 matches, and then Mohammed Abbas, who should have played for Notts as long ago as 2020, but COVID denied him the opportunity then of making his Nottinghamshire debut. Ended up signing for Hampshire, and he's had 4 good seasons with them. Now eventually does come back to the East Midlands. Here's O'Neill, bowls off the outside edge, and he's going to get a boundary here, Lees, and he knew nothing at all about that. He was squared up by O'Neill, and the bowler, I'm afraid, is going to have to get used to that here at Trentbridge. With that short boundary, you can bowl a good ball and go for 4, and such is the life of a talented quick bowler. So the rest of the Notts attack we'll expect to see today after Pennington, O'Neill, Josh Tong, of course, Lyndon James, the all-rounder, and Farhan Ahmed. They'll be the principal bowlers. As O'Neill past the umpire bowls, and lunging forward, Alex Lees, former England international, helps this out into the covers, and there's no run. If you'd like to get in touch via the old Twittery thing, you'd be very welcome. X, I suppose we should call it now, at Brace Cricket. Marty's got all sorts of manner of means of getting in touch with him, which we'll introduce in a moment, as this is dropped out onto the leg side, and there's no run. I did mean to mention right at the very start of the day, whilst we're delighted to be back, and we'll be looking forward to reunited with friends up and down the county circuit. Some really sad news. I think all the cricket journalists, broadcasters up and down the country, all of a like mind, that yesterday they were very sorry to hear the news of the passing of John Curtis, a very popular member of the media. Pretty much looked after the Worcestershire press box, as this one from O'Neill into the thigh pad, and there's no run. If you're not familiar with the work or the name John Curtis, you will almost certainly, as a sports fan, have read his work for many years, getting on for 3 decades. He travelled home and away with the England football team, provided stuff for the Press Association. A lot of work that you'll have seen in the newspapers and online will have originated from the keyboard, and before that from the pen of John Curtis. And a lot of cricket work, and whoever he engaged with really enjoyed his company. A wonderful fella. As this one is down the leg side from O'Neill, it's clipped away for the second boundary in the over, and Alex Lees has started brightly here, 11 without loss. And just to move on from that sad news, equally sad news, the flag, I'm told, is flying at half-mast here. In fact, it's above the Hound Road stand, because the pavilion flagpoles are out of action. The Nottinghamshire flag above the Hound Road stand flying at half-mast. Ron Alsop, who of course was the great groundsman here during the Rice and Hadley era, many say he was sort of the third member of that new ball attack, provided some flavourful services, shall we say, for Clive Rice and Richard Hadley. We've lost Ron Alsop recently, so Notts are flying the flag at half-mast there. Martin's with us, Dylan Pennington from the far end. I'll just see this ball and then we'll bring the great man in as Dylan Pennington, former Worcestershire man, bowls a good delivery past the gigantic figure of Ben McKinney. He walked past me out in the middle of the toss and crikey, I thought the sun had gone behind the clouds. He's a monster. Speaking of monsters, the first time this year wearing his bright orange sunglasses. Hope you've wintered well.
What's that coming over the hill? Can you remember that song?
Not really.
No.
Good to see you. How are you? Martin Emerson with us, folks.
I'm a bit discombobulated, Dave. I have to say, I haven't quite got my head around the fact that the cricket season's back here and we're doing this, to be honest with you.
It's early, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's early. Pennington from the broad end bowls and dropped on the leg side by McKinney. They take a single. I might as well finish this over and then you can have this end, which is now the players' end as well. They're all getting changed downstairs. So,
I think you said a few months ago when the fixtures came out, this is the earliest start domestically by a day or something.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Obviously, I've done
4th of
games. I've done those MCC matches in Abu Dhabi, and you've done one as well, haven't you? But,
and we did have the, up until the last 2 or 3 years, the university games had first-class status, but they no longer have. Everybody's had some sort of pre-season warm-up. Pennington in again, and Lee's looking in good touch. Thumps this to mid-off to the not skipper, Asiba Mead. The Durham team, I've made a right old mess of the scorecards here and the names we've got in. Both sides named squads burgeoning with talent. A little surprised personally that Callum Parkinson isn't playing. George Drissell is the main spinner, but it's an embarrassment of Richards for both sides. It's Pennington bowls and it's defended, but a little bit of yin and yang with regards to South Africa. No Varina for Notts, no Beddingham for Durham. It's a blow for your side, Martin.
yeah, leading run maker in the division last year with 1,300 runs. And, they're still in South Africa, aren't they? So, be interesting to see how Durham. I think in terms of the batting lineup, they've not really got any worries there. They're very strong in the batting lineup. Last season, injuries to bowlers was the key.
5th ball of the 3rd over, 12 without loss, and Lee's just slightly mistimed that, pushes it into the offside, fielded by Jack Haynes. A couple of good new arrivals though. Emilio Gay, we saw a little bit of at the back end of last season on loan, his deal now permanent, and Will Rhodes, born in Nottingham of course. Will Rhodes, he's now moved on to his 3rd county after a lengthy spell with, he's born in Nottingham, then
grew up in Cottingham. Where's Cottingham? Is that over Hull?
Yeah. Humberside, East Yorkshire.
He was with Yorkshire for a brief period, wasn't he then? 7 seasons with Warwickshire.
And good this from Pennington in this over. Bowles now strikes him on the back pad, asking umpire Nigel Long, and we used to fair-head bowlers bowling from the broad end, running all the way down, celebrating. And on this occasion, it wasn't Stuart Broad, it was Dylan Pennington. A shake of the head from the umpire. I've had 3 overs here on BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Newcastle, and all the other places that you can expect to find us for the County Championship cricket commentary. I'm Dave Bracegirdle. Here's Martin Emerson.
Somebody's doing something with the hover mower, I think.
They're just pumping up the hover cover. I would imagine they'll be moving it a little further away from the boundary edge, maybe, although it's not doing any harm there. Certainly, I don't think it's going to be needed today. Temperature in the low 70s F.
It's going to be needed for the next 4 days. In fact, they said on the weather forecast this morning, probably well beyond the next week. Here's O'Neill. Right arm over. Radcliffe Road end, comes in and bowls. That's left alone by McKinney. McKinney played for England Lions in the winter, got 100 in Australia.
He's a giant of a man, isn't he?
6'7". I had a Spanish lecturer who was 6'7", and he was called Mr. Little, and he drove a Mini. He used to have to duck when he was coming into the language lab. He used to have to duck, so he'd clip his head on the frame of the door.
Didn't know where you were going with that.
Comes in again. A little bit of bounce off a length there from that one. It's fended away towards backward points. A tiny boundary.
It's 50 yards.
That's the minimum you're allowed then, isn't it?
To the trust sign, the light blue trentbridge.co.uk /trust sign says Steve Burke's the head groundsman, and as it's 50 yards to the board, it's only 49 and a bit to the boundary edge, and they've asked permission, and they've got permission from the ECB to have it there.
O'Neill balls again, that's left alone. Durham played a few years ago at the end of the season at Lords, and it was something like a 45-yard boundary to the mound stand, and you could top edge for 6 quite comfortably.
At Brace Cricket, if you want to get in touch on the old Twittery thing, how can they get hold of you now, Martin?
I'm not using that anymore. So it's Marty Cricket as it was, and it's I'm at Blue Sky, which is lovely. You don't get any of the hostility on there. As O'Neill comes in, playing a miss there. It's gone through to the keeper, low to the keeper. So it's martycricket.bsky.social, or of course wearecricket@yahoo.co.uk.
Yeah, the email address again, we're as in the river, not we are cricket, as I used to try and get in touch with you and wonder why you were snubbing me. We're WEAR cricket at
yahoo.co.uk.
There you are. And you don't mind Nottinghamshire supporters sending emails, lengthy emails, if you will, to Martin.
Oh, that's an edge for 4.
Yeah.
Straight past the slip corner along the floor, thick edge, bottom corner of the bat, and away it goes, McKinney.
I mentioned while you're out of the room,
Moves
Fergus
on to
O'Neill's
5.
going to have to get used to this here, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
You can bowl an absolute jaffer and it'll say 0 for 4 on your analysis.
This is, of all the grounds we visit, I think this is my favourite, because they modernised it, but they kept all the separate stands. It's still got a sort of traditional feel about it. But the modernisation and that boundary is very short, isn't it, unfortunately?
Lots and lots of people have got in touch. I will work my way through them during the course of the session. Got to remember now, it's not a 90-minute football match. It's a 7-hour day probably to get through them all.
O'Neill comes in, that goes through to the keeper. Comes from a place called Taranga. Have you ever
In
been
New
there?
Zealand. He's born in New Zealand, but his name is Fergus Patrick O'Neill. There's got to be a little bit of Irish in there somewhere, isn't there?
Is that a hunch? You having one of your hunches?
Yeah, Fergus Patrick O'Neill. We were just coming in the room, Martin. I was just mentioning the sad loss of JC John
yeah.
Curtis, and I know he was somebody that you knew. I think everybody felt they knew him, and he was their best mate because he was such a welcoming fellow in the Nero press box.
He must have been reporting in West Midlands sport good 50 years or more.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing journalism for 36, 37 years, so a very nice man, one of the nicest people you meet, and always nice to have a chat with him and be in his company.
Yes, Dylan Pennington, who knew him well, of course, from his time at New Road, bowls to Alex Lees, who's 11 not out from now 12 deliveries, 2 4s and a 3, and just finishing for now on the great JC John Curtis. He had a little natter with Joe Clark, and he was very upset to hear the news. But all the Worcestershire boys, the 4-pronged contingent, if you like, Joe Clark and Dylan Pennington and Josh Tong and Jack Haynes, they will all have been interviewed by John Curtis literally hundreds of times, and Peter Moores. He went right back to Peter Moore's playing days as well. Peter having a few words to say about him as well. And lovely fella. As the next one's eased into the offside, no run, as you'd expect. The square looking pristine. Steve Burke's head groundsman telling me when he first started here, of course the Smith Cooper stand was still a pipe dream, so he had a bit more grass to work with there. He said he had 20 strips, it's down to 14 now, and you've got more games than ever, of course, with the Blaze here, all their fixtures and the 100 and the internationals and what have you. As Pennington bowls again, very, very elegant from Alex Lees, the Durham captain. Very nice indeed through the offside. Hamid chases it and won't win that battle. 4 runs for Alex Lees.
Nice shot, that.
My word, if he's going to play like this, it's going to be a joy to watch today. Not necessarily by the Notts fans, although they do love to see some mighty stroke play. Took over from Scott Borthwick. I don't know if he's had presumably he's stood in from time to time in the past. This wouldn't necessarily be the very first time he's gone out for the toss, would it?
But he's captained them in Borthwick's absence in the past. He's been the white ball skipper as well.
Lee's on 15 out of the 20 without loss. Bowls now and inside edge onto his pad, and it runs out on the offside. Thanks as ever to Kirsty, to Aaron, to Stoneheart Media for being here at, I think it was about 6 o'clock. Kirsty was sending tweets out saying all the cameras were up ready and looking forward to the new season. I retweeted one as soon as I got it. Who's that? First thing this morning, and it was Kirsty already out setting the cameras up to bring you the pictures. Those of you following on Trent Bridge Live, as Pennington bowls and Lees just turns this on the leg side. Hamid gets it and just makes sure that the opener has to just put the afterburners on to get in. Shied at the non-striker's end, no run. 1 run rather, 21 without loss.
Talking about Ben McKinney, my dad's just texted. He says, the last catch I got in Whitburn's first team was Stuart McKinney, the father of Ben. Got it in the gully at Seaham Harbour, and I was 48.
Was he 6'9" as well?
I don't know.
Crikey. Absolute giant. Got a big score, didn't he, when the two sides met last year at Chesterley Street. That was the match that Freddie McCann made his Notts debut. I think he was out for 49, but McKinney, a fellow England Lion now, got a big score. Pennington bowls to the number 9. Worked away on the leg side. The former Durham number 9, Graham Onions, here on the ground. And, of course, he got 9 wickets in a match here. Must be more than a decade or so.
I think it was 2012. He got all 10, didn't he?
But he ran Luke Fletcher out. Yeah, no changing of the guard, no Luke Fletcher this year on the Notts squad, though he is very much still part of Trent Bridge because he's now the bowling coach with the Blaze, so don't be surprised if the big man sticks his head in at some point. 21 without loss, Durham. They've made a bright start, having been shoved in on the opening morning.
I thought they won the toss.
No, Notts won the toss, and Seba Mead won the toss and asked Durham to bat first.
In comes O'Neill, right arm over. That's a bit of a heavy bat, that one, as it's played by Lees up to mid-off to Hamid. Derek's message, he said, great to hear you. Nice to start with a song. He said, I woke up at 5:30 for this. He's been excited. He was counting down the days, the sleeps to the start of the new cricket season.
Just 1 wicket has gone down in Division 1 so far, and it's Tom Haynes of Sussex. He's been dismissed by Ethan Bamber, who's just moved to Warwickshire from Middlesex.
That one spits up a little bit on Lees, but he manages to play it off towards the cover area. 1 run as Hamid comes round to field it. So Durham now 22 without loss.
Another former Sussex player who ended his career at Trent Bridge, Chris Nash, said it was the worst feeling in the world if you had to go out and bat on the opening morning of the season and you get a first or a second ball, or you're given out a dodgy LBW, you walk back and you look at the pavilion clock and it's still showing 1:11. You've been dismissed before the season's really started.
Oh, has McKinney gone there? He's walking off. I was a little bit confused because he's going the opposite way to the pavilion, but he's edged one and he's gone for 5. Durham 22 for 1. O'Neill gets his first wicket. He was caught by the keeper, flashing at one outside the off stump there. So the pavilion is shrouded in scaffolding and tarpaulin and everything else, and the players are actually using boxes at this end of the ground as their dressing room. So McKinney departs for 5.
First wicket for Fergus O'Neill. He's found the outside edge 3 or 4 times and it's cost him runs with that short boundary. But on this occasion, he gets Ben McKinney, caught by Joe Clark with the gloves on for this game. Carl Verena not expected to arrive for another few days. McKinney out, caught Clark, bowled O'Neill 5 at the crease for 20 minutes or so, faced 15 balls, it won for Durham, 22 for 1.
.3 overs gone.
So expecting it to be Emilio Gate, the new man. Here he comes, wearing 24. Was in the runs over the last 2-3 years for Northants, and obviously seized the opportunity to play some Division 1 cricket.
It was interesting because Northants put him on gardening leave last year once he announced he was going to come to Durham, and then He eventually came with about a couple of games to go, so he was a 12th man in one match, and then he played at the Oval. The Will Rhodes transfer was announced midsummer last year by Warwickshire, but it was quite a while before Durham confirmed it. So here is Emilio Gay, got nearly 1,000 runs last year. Obviously the majority of them for Northants. Says he's moved to Durham to try and improve his hopes of getting in the England team. O'Neill bowling to the left-hander, leaves this one, goes for a little walk.
It's cost him a few runs, O'Neill. In his third over, 1 for 13, but always nice to get that maiden wicket.
Among the teams he's played for over the years, Clitheroe in the Lancashire League, that's where Samit Patel was playing as well, wasn't he? A couple of years ago.
Samit plays for everybody.
It's gone down the leg side, taken by Clark Lowe across to the right-hand side. Because he did a game at Durham with us, didn't he? And then he left on the Friday tee time because he was going to play for Clitheroe the next day.
Yep. Just very quickly before the next delivery, Essex batting against champion Surrey, 23 without loss. Yorkshire batting down in Southampton, 18 without loss against Hampshire. We know the score here. Worcestershire 30 without loss at Taunton. Sussex 27 for 1 at Edgbaston.
Oh, that one moves away from Gay there. He went to play a straight ball and that seamed away from him. That was a cracking delivery. That is the end of the over, 22 for 1. And a wicket in it as well. Carl says, hope you're okay. It's so good to hear you all again.
Division 2, there's been a wicket in all 4 matches. Derbyshire hosting Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire batting 23 for 1. Glamorgan 17 for 1 at home to Leicestershire. Middlesex 9 for 1 at Lords against Lancashire. And Kent 19 for 1 at Wantage Road against Northants. All the scores available via the BBC Sport website. 22 for 1. Lee's on 17 and Dylan Pennington bowls to the Durham skipper. Just drops it on the leg side, takes his top hand off the bat, and Mead bustles into field.
Have you been to Australia? You must have been.
I've been to Australia, yeah.
Have you been to the Blue Mountains of Australia?
No.
Do you prefer the ones in Virginia?
I'm not really a mountainous sort of person.
The mountains of Newark. Good evening, David and Martin, says James Kendall. Wonderful to hear the county season back on air.
Here comes Pennington, straight approach, accelerates, nicely, good delivery, and
too high.
They were just sort of in semi-celebratory mode. They all thought they should appeal for something, but there was nothing doing there. If it was anything at all, it might have flicked the top of the pad, but as Martin said, it certainly would have been going over anyway. But there were sort of semi-appeals from bowler, from the keeper and from the 3 slips, but nothing more.
Anyway, James says, I'm listening from Hazelbrook in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, Australia, having moved from Teesside.
22 for 1. Pennington in again, edged and held, now spilled by Lyndon James at first slip, and that was one, I think, that at the end of the day everybody will say, well, that's pretty much a regulation first slip offering. Lyndon James gets back to his feet and applauds the bowler, who philosophically turns and gets on his heels and makes his way back to his mark. But it was a thickish edge from Lees, sailed up, probably have struck Lyndon James round about the right shoulder had he not got both hands to it. Thought he'd got it, but down it went, and that might or might not be hugely significant, and Lees gets forward and defends this one. Feels like
a moment.
Yeah, the start he's had as well. Feels like you can't afford to give Alex Lees too many chances. .22 for 1. I think when I was in Australia,
I'm just looking at the angle there where James is. He's looking back towards the black windows of the officers underneath the big scoreboard. I'm just wondering if he just lost the ball slightly in there.
Pennington bowls now, and there's going to be a run here, a sprawling stop-ish down to his left by Slater. Couldn't scoop it in, and they take the single. I wouldn't have thought Linden would be wanting you or anybody to make any sort of
could have come into play though, couldn't it? I mean, it might look a bit different down there, looking at that building compared to where we are up here.
At slip, if you're going to ask a slip fielder where do you want it, especially at first slip, it wasn't one of those, is the keeper going to go, or it wasn't sort of in no man's land. It went straight to him and at a comfortable height. Pennington bowls, and this is off something down the leg side. They're going to take a run. I suspect it might be the first extra of the new season. It is. We've got an extra. We've got a leg by, and it's the end of the over. It should have been a successful one for Dylan Pennington. He's 4 overs, none for 10, 7 overs gone. Durham here on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Radio Nottingham, and all the other places that you can find us, including the live stream, are 24 for 1.
James says, I'm a long way from home, but enjoying the cricket to remind me of home. Hoping for a terrific season for Durham, and wishing Notts well too for Dave.
Thank you.
I'd be grateful of you if you could give a shout out as O'Neill comes in here, right arm over from the Radcliffe Road end. Start of the 8th over, that's played safely by Gay to square leg, no run there. Short square leg picked up there by Farhan Ahmed. He says, if you give a shout out to Stilo, Xander, Greg, Doug and James, Northey and Willis, my friends in our County Championship Fantasy League, please do let them know to mind the gap as I win the league this season, he says. We are cricket@yahoo.co.uk. In comes O'Neill, he bowls. That's a wideish delivery which is taken by the keeper in front of first slip.
Yeah, decent start this from Notts. They've got one of the Durham top order out. Should have had another one, but there's enough deliveries in good areas at the moment.
O'Neill comes in, bowls. That's a leave from Gay. Keeper takes it. 24 for 1. Good morning, gents, says Ollie. Excellent to hear you both commentating on this match. I've missed county cricket and pleased to see some good weather at Trent Bridge. Let's hope this sun can continue at Chesley Street. I was there last week and was surprised to suffer sunburn in March in the northeast. Glorious weather for Durham's match against the University. With regards to Emilio Gay, I know he has also represented Italy in cricket.
Has he?
I should have not read that bit out, shouldn't I? And he's out. He's edged to the keeper, and Durham are in a tricky spell here. Gay has gone for a duck. 8th ball, caught behind. So O'Neill, having got McKinney the previous over, caught behind, has now got Gay for an 8th ball duck. Durham are 24 for 2.
Ciao.
I see what you did there.
So, Notts missed out on Alex Lees. Still think that might be an important moment of the morning session, but when you shove a side in, they generally are looking to maybe get, 3 wickets in the session. So Notts have got 2 of them. We've only been playing, says he, frantically looking for the time. Can't see the clock above the pavilion now. Yeah, it's just gone 11:30. Yeah. Yeah, I broke my watch last week. I need to get well, I say I broke it. I didn't. It just stopped working, and I took it for what you thought would be the new battery. And sorry, it's not the battery, my old son. It's kaput. Well, can you fix it?
Does it not show you where the sun is anymore now?
with a look of disdain, he said, it would cost you more to fix than the watch is worth. I thought, thank you. Anyway, Will Rhodes on his way out to the middle. Try and get rid of... that's the wrong...
It's Colin Ackerman, isn't it?
It is. It's Colin Ackerman's birthday as well. Former Leicestershire man, world record holder in
I think
T20.
somebody's broken that
Has he?
now. Yeah, in an overseas league. Took 7 wickets in the T20 against Warwickshire. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Somebody's done the same, but for fewer runs, I think.
Outlaw Chris is with us. Lovely photographs this morning of Dave and Martin. That's the one where we were huddled in the tent. Was that Welbeck or Grantham? I think it was, wasn't it, where it was raining.
Yeah. O'Neill to Ackerman. Ackerman plays the ball upfield to mid-on. No run there. Yeah, we never got on that day, which is just as well because we couldn't see a scoreboard because it was behind the little tent we were in.
It's quite funny in that it was the first game back for Alex Hales, or should have been, shouldn't it, after a suspension from the game. So lots and lots and lots of media. Make your way to Grantham, and especially the photographers, weren't they? Yeah. Take a photograph of Alex Hales.
Last ball of the over, and Ackerman plays the ball to point along the ground safely. No run. End of the over, 24 for 2. Yeah, it was raining the night before. I got down the night before and wandering around a rather damp Grantham on my own.
And there was a big accident, wasn't there? Almost delayed the start, or would have delayed the start, had it not been raining, because Durham were late getting there.
That was a wicket maiden as well. 24 for 2. I'm trying to get back into cricket mode here, Dave, because I was still reading news bulletins on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock.
Well, I was doing football on Wednesday night. Just me, the Silver Pie. Great to have cricket season back. Still a few games of football left, Dave, but great to have you back alongside Martin for the cricket. James Smith says, I'm sure they'll manage. I don't know what the reference to that was. There's Pennington. Things haven't been too kind for Dylan Pennington in terms of his start to the season wicket-wise. He bowls, and this is run into the offside, and there's no run. T says, morning Dave, that Fox Road boundary looks nice and inviting. Yeah, it's already been found by the Durham top order. Kyle asks, will there still be a camera operating from the pavilion? As Pennington bowls, and this is run to backward point. There's no run. Well, I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody on the pavilion, because there's all that scaffolding and the sheeting up in front of it. So if you're following the pictures, you'll know exactly where all the cameras are by now. That obviously came in before the start of play. Aid Rawdon says, you're back at Mecca, Dave. Good morning, Aid. 24 for 2. Alex Lees with the bulk of the runs on 18, but he's lost 2 partners. Hits this up to Hamid at mid-off, and there's no run. Simon Gledden looks a very short boundary at backward square leg on the Bridgeford Road side of the ground. I think the minimum is 50 yards. It looked like it's scarcely that. It's 49 and a bit, Simon, but they've got dispensation. Pete Dunsford, what is this? First day of the domestic cricket season, and there appears to be some blue sky overhead. Kay says, is there a live stream available? Yes, Kay, there is. 24 for 2. And, wide of the pegs, leaves us alone. Lawrence says, oh, lovely to have cricket back. The weather looks fab. Enjoy it, everybody. Dave, Destination Europe with Forrest, says, you and Martin, great comedy double act returning to the airwaves. Thank you, Dave. Outlaw Chris, come on, me lucky lads. Callum, weird seeing Josh Toll make his debut for us when he signed so long ago. Yeah, it signed in August 2023, actually. 24 for 2 is the score, and left alone by Lees again, just short of a length from Dylan Pennington. Misbehaving, that's a good name, isn't it? Misbehaving. Happy opening day, everybody. Looking forward to the commentary for the rest of the season. Please can you have a word with sound, because the YouTube commentary is very tinny. Now that's just Martin misbehaving. Chris, I'm with you both this AM, and hopefully down to the ground this afternoon. Graham Rowley, one of our regulars, also been in touch. One ball left in the over, see if I can rattle through a few more. Pennington bowls, and again left alone. Good stuff from Pennington, another maiden, 24 for 2. Graham Rowley, morning Dave. Sun just breaking through the clouds here on the Isle of Wight, and along with your dulcet tones, it looks like being a great start to the new championship season. Welcome back. Thank you, Graham. Enjoy life on the Isle of Wight. Chris Rains, welcome back. Really feels like spring, only when the cricket starts. It does indeed. Suzanne Martin's with us. Good morning, Suzanne. Dr. Dan Diaper is my first sketch of the season. I've sent it to Martin on Blue Sky.
I'll have to have a look.
Nick Morell, Dave, you've twice mistaken O'Neill for Hamid. Oh, keep abreast of that.
Well, this is O'Neill bowling here. That's gone for 4. Just flicked away by Ackerman quite gently through the leg side to that short boundary. Gets him off the mark. 3rd ball.
I'll do some more in the next over. We were a 2, we're now a 3.
Yes, so joining us today, Matt Henry, who comes from a good bloodline. The Sunderland in there. So, from the BBC cricket team, the online cricket team. As O'Neill bowls again from this Radcliffe Road end. Big appeal for LBW. Might have been a little bit of bat in that, maybe some glove on the handle. Ackerman survives. Umpires are Nigel Long and Graham Lloyd. Match ref is Peter Such. So welcome, Matt.
Morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, good. It's been a good start, hasn't it, from Notts? Very impressive fast bowling attack when you think Josh Tongue hasn't even had a ball yet, and you've had Fergus O'Neill and Pennington running in already.
Yeah. Durham 28 for 2 having been put in. Ackerman places to Ahmed in the covers, no run there.
I watched a bit of O'Neill through the winter in the Big Bash, plays for Melbourne Renegades, I think I'm right in saying, and looks like someone who's up for a fight, I would say, up for the battle, put it that way.
He's been bowling a really decent line here, probing line. He's had 2 caught behind. 24 years old. He hasn't been playing first-class cricket that long, only 2 years or so. And he comes again and bowls. Ooh, that was in the air momentarily, but it drops just short of mid-on from Ackerman's bat.
Is the irony of irony. Notts are missing Carl Verreynne, Durham are missing David Benningham for this last round of matches in the South African Domestic Championship. Western Province, who they both play for, away at Northwest Dragons, who play in Potchefstroom. Yesterday, not a ball bowled on day 1. Today, already no play today, Rain.
Too far south, Dave. O'Neill in, swings away from the off stump, goes through to the keeper. There's 4 in the slip corner now.
Also unavailable, Dane Patterson, who plays for Western Province. Of course, he's now moved to Middlesex. It's Dane's birthday today, and it's also Colin Ackerman's birthday today. He's out in the middle there, the link with each side that managed to find with regards to the birthdays. Sussex have lost 3 wickets in Division 1 on their return to Division 1, so the first point of the new season goes to Warwickshire, bowling point.
O'Neill, it moves across after it's past the off stump. That is the end of the over. 28 for 2 here on the BBC. Subtle Knife says, I'm just listening from boring old Netherlands again, same as every year. We've had the Blue Mountains of New South Wales today. There's Dr. Dan's first picture of the year. Panoramic that I took earlier today.
Yes, I think when I did go to Australia, there was all sorts of people on the streets, in Sydney, trying to sell you day trips to the Blue Mountains. Go and see the kangaroos and go and have a waltz up the Blue Mountains, but we didn't.
Wasting their time with you, weren't they?
Yeah, spending money. Pennington bowls to Alex Lees, turns this away on the leg side, and I'm going to assume then that I need to get the binoculars. Nick Morell telling me off quite rightly. Captain Hamid, I'll get the binoculars, is at mid-on, and We'll have to get used to Fergus O'Neill's running style. He is at mid-off. So there was something about his running style, obviously, that made me think he was the skipper. I don't know. Clearly he isn't. 29 for 2. Was I what? Sorry.
Skipper's got a beard as well, hasn't he?
Well, there's lots and lots of things, but you know, we've got so much to say in the first half an hour of the day, sort of only half watching the cricket, which is not something we need to be doing. We need to be fully paying attention, because then we'll see shots like that. Lovely extra cover drive from Ackerman as Pennington slightly over pitches. And that's a fine shot. Ackerman on to 8. 33 for 2 is the Durham score. Entertaining start to the season as an aeroplane goes overhead. Kevin Marriott, welcome back, everybody. Regards from Kevin in Cornwall. Mark the Mod, morning to Dave and Marty from sunny Sevenoaks. He's one of our regulars as Pennington bowls, and this is turned away on the leg side, maybe off the pad. It'll take Durham to 34 for 2. Yes, it is a leg by.
How many of the Sevenoaks blew down in the big storm of 1987? Wasn't there only one left?
I don't know. Perhaps Mark the Mod will know. Great to hear you both. Just cycled past the Vine ground where Steve Smith first played over here. Got the coffee on, hoping for an early breakthrough. So that's how long ago Mark got in touch with lots and lots of messages. Well done, folks. If you can keep this enthusiasm up from now until the end of September with regards to sending messages in, it'll be fantastic. But understandably, everybody were excited about the start of the season as Pennington bowls and whipped away by Alex Lees down to fine leg. There's Josh Tong. Can't be too far away from a bowl, you'd imagine. 35 for 2. Lees on to 20. Nick Morell has come back. Looks like O'Neill likes bowling to left-handers. Yep. Good catch, says Nigel King. Not sure which one that was. Ollie Gordon, happy new season from Brisbane, Dave. All the best to the team behind the scenes at Notts. Ollie was with us last year, and obviously he's gone out. I don't know if it's a gap year, Ollie, or you're just enjoying life down under. A little push and run from Ackerman into the offside. Fielded by Fahan Ahmed, who's lost 90 numbers during the close season. He was 97 on his back last year. He's number 7 this year. So
he's gone to central midfield, has he?
He has. 36 for 2. Ollie, all the best to the team behind the scenes at Notts who work hard to make summer everything it is. Special congrats to the heartbeat of the club, Booney, for getting through the winter in constant cheery spirits. I'm sure he'll be listening. Paul Harrison, Booney, to bring everything over from the pavilion single-handedly, as this one is another LBW shout. It ballooned up to Montgomery at the third slip, but Pennington was appealing for LBW, and again Nigel Long's not out. 36 for 2. Andrew Wallace, head groundsman at wonderful Wormsley Cricket Club. Great to have the pair of you back together. Favourite commentary pair for the first game of the season. Any more for now? Simon Aldridge, morning gents. Sun is shining in Norfolk today too. Looking forward to more commentary from the county championship season. Anything to distract me from the Canaries. It's not the Canary Isles. It's his beloved Norwich City. Good to have you with us, Simon.
Right, we're about to start over 12 here. BBC Radio Newcastle with you, BBC Radio Nottingham. 36 for 2, and it is O'Neill who's taken 2 for 17 so far in his 5 overs. One of them a wicket maiden. Bowling to Ackerman, who's on 9 from 12. That's a dot ball. Jim Metcalf says, great to have you and Dave on commentary at Trent Bridge today. Martin, can you pass on my best to the great man too? Ooh. As I've also moved on from the other place. And then Daniel says, please set Dave up on Blue Sky, because I've left the other place. As lots of people indeed have. In comes O'Neill. Radcliffe Road end, bat and pad, forward defensive there from Ackerman. Matt, I was going to ask you, were you travelling around with England in the winter?
Yes, yeah. Pakistan and Dubai for the Champions Trophy. England didn't make it to Dubai; they were out long before we got there.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a good tournament. It was a strange tournament. I enjoyed it, covering it. I'm not going to complain about getting away for some sunshine in February. Yeah. Well, it wasn't total sunshine in Pakistan, in Lahore in particular. It was quite cold and wet.
Was it? O'Neill bowls, played to mid-wicket this time, no run there. It's 11 years now since I was last in Dubai, and went out to cover Durham against the MCC in the champion county match, which was, I went twice to Abu Dhabi. I first went to Dubai in about 1992. There was nothing there. It was just a little backwater in the Middle East, very quiet, relaxed. And then about 2005 I was there with my wife, and we went for a meal one night on what was to become the marina, and the first skyscraper was going up there. And a few years later there was more than 100. I mean, this is played nicely by Ackerman off towards deep point. He's going to get a bit of hesitancy, but he will get 2. Moves him on to the 11. Durham 38 for 2. The rate of development is just absolutely astronomical now. I mean, the cricket ground was way out of town. There used to be a 12-mile drive across the desert between Dubai and Sharjah. They're now joined up. And a friend of mine who was lecturing at the American University in Sharjah, we were driving down the motorway one day, and he basically couldn't tell anymore where Sharjah ended and Dubai began.
Yes, just all one continuous stretch of buildings now.
Stretch of traffic jam.
Well, Sheikh Zayed Road is, yeah. In comes O'Neill. This is defended again by Ackerman, just rolls short on the offside. Picked up by Hamid. But the rate of development, I mean, at one point I think a third of the world's tall cranes were there, but the facilities they've got are amazing. I mean, Sharjah cricket ground was out of town, and it's now right in the middle of the city. You know, the buildings go on way beyond that. Abu Dhabi, they were building all these extra cricket grounds around the main stadium. Just endless money there. But it's nice, yeah, as you say, it's nice to get out there in February in a bit of warmth. Last ball of the 12th over, O'Neill bowls, and this is pushed away by Ackerman beyond Hamid at mid-off, and he chases down towards us. His throw's not the best, he gets 2 runs, his cap's blown off.
Well, I was just going to say, it might be a new season, but some things don't alter. Every time Asib Hamid chases after the ball, he loses that cap.
Maybe it's too big then,
well,
because there's no wind out there, is it?
I've been saying that since 2020, when he arrived here. 40 for 2. Mike Fitzgerald has been in touch. He travels around the waterways, not only of Great Britain, now Europe. He says he's listening to us on his barge, on his canal boat in Amsterdam. Delighted you're all back for the new county championship season. Today I'm listening via YouTube. Thanks to everybody who brings us the commentary and the technical backup. Hoping to get across to Trent Bridge as soon as he can. A different looking Nottinghamshire this year. Be interesting to see how they go. Here's a bowling change, and it is the man who missed all of last season due to injury. Josh Tong, very much on England's radar. He's got a central contract, so we won't necessarily see him in all the matches. His time will be limited as he comes in and bowls, and his first ball for Nottinghamshire is pulled away on the leg side for 4. Short, help yourself, and Alex Lee's in the sort of mood to help himself. Pulls it away and gets a boundary, and it's 44 for 2.
Who's the 12th man? Got number 12 on his back.
I don't know what the applause was for, or the announcement. The applause was for the announcement. We didn't hear the announcement, and I don't know who the 12th man is. We'll have a little look in a minute. Next ball, it's short, and it's pulled away again for 4. I think is it Ben Martindale down there.
I didn't hear what they said, but I'm looking at Alex Lee's stats, and he's not on the verge of any milestone. He went past 10,000 first-class runs last year.
There's Ben Martindale, sub-fielder.
Unless it was just about Tongue making his debut, might have been.
Well, the only way is up. He started with 2 balls short of a length, and both dispatched by Alex Lees, who's on 28 out of 48. Next ball is better, fuller, just outside the off stump through to Joe Clark, and a dot ball. Durham 48 for 2. They've lost Ben McKinney for 5. Emilio Gay without scoring, both dismissed to catches by Joe Clark behind the stumps from the bowling of Fergus O'Neill, whose figures at the moment are 6 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 21.
Chris says, I'm back in Lycra for the first time since the Deershed Festival last year. I'm listening to you on the way over to Pickering, but a headwind means I'm on the train as far as Malton. So.
Next ball is cut away. There'll be 2, maybe 3 here. Ben Slater is after it. They've run a couple. Are they going to take one for the arm? Yep. Back comes Colin Ackerman, so that's already 11 from this over, and that's going to bring the Durham 50 up, 51 for 2. And Josh Tong is taking a little bit of time just to settle down. Steve, you and Dave, can't Fergus O'Neill play as well as Mohammed Abbas? Are they only allowed one overseas player? They're allowed 2 overseas players. Carl Verreiner is booked in for the entire season, or so they thought, with Western Province challenging for the title. He's had to stay in South Africa, so we'll miss this game. Hopefully be back for next week when Notts are at home again to Essex. Tong bowls
It's a good lead
to Ackerman, yeah, fairly close to the off stump, and O'Neill is just here for 4 games, and then Mohammed Abbas takes over, so they've got that covered. I think there's a limitation to how long Fergus O'Neill could be in the country. He's not played any form of international cricket or whatever. His career is developing, and they could only get him for the first 4 matches, but then Mohammed Abbas takes over. 51 for 2. Certainly looks a promise, though, if that's what you were hinting at, as this one's helped into the offside. No run, Josh Tong, 1 over, no maiden, none for 11.
I was just going to say, Australia are here in the not too distant future, either for the World Test Championship. So, yeah, I mean, he's not going to get in the first choice attack, and maybe not in the next choice after that, but a few wickets early season. I imagine that is definitely on Fergus O'Neill's mind. He was playing in the Lions match that Ben McKinney scored his 100 in Sydney earlier this season, as was Josh Tong, as was Dylan Pennington. So there's quite a few of this players in this match met each other in Sydney earlier this year.
Yeah, Freddie McCann and Farhan Ahmed as well have been with the Lions this winter.
One player not playing who Durham have signed, who I think is going to be here from next week, is Brendan Doggett, the Australian bowler,
who was also playing in that match.
Right. This is defended by Lees from O'Neill, start of a new over. So were you watching that from home then, or from in the office?
Yes, yeah, I wasn't at that game.
No.
It was just, a one we were across from the office from here. I actually spoke to Ben McKinney on Monday this week for a piece. People obviously get excited when someone who'd had a good season last season, you saw a lot of him, Martin, he's only played 11 first-class games, but has a good season, and then he goes away and scores 100 for the Lions.
Yeah. He's pushed away by Lees, gets up on top of that one, plays out into the covers. Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why maybe Michael Jones went off to Lancashire as well, because he'd been squeezed out the side.
Yeah, England rate McKinney very highly, Durham rate McKinney very highly. Ryan Campbell's a massive fan, isn't it? So I went along, spoke to him on Monday, questioning whether he's England's next Bazball, or whether he's the next one to come into the top of that order, the next young player that they may pick after the likes of Bethel and Shoaib Bashir, and who else have they picked? Unlimited first-class experience. Josh Hull as well, obviously, that's the other one. And then he goes and gets out for 5 today, typical.
O'Neill to Lees. Lees plays it up to Hamid, mid-off, no run there. He got a quick-fire 100 against Notts, didn't he, last year?
Yeah,
Dave, he smashed it all over the place.
Did indeed, very impressive, yeah. Producer Kirsty's been in touch, obviously, a little earlier on with regards to where the cameras are today, obviously at this end of the ground. So Spence is with a camera in the Upper Hound Road stand, and we've got a magic floating camera in front of the pavilion. I've got to look out for that, a magic floating camera. I guess it's the one behind the arm, unless that's the analyst's one. That's a fixed one there. Martin's disappeared, so I'll just talk you through the rest of this over. O'Neill going round the wicket to Alex Lees. 31 not out. Andy, good day to you both. Well, there's 3 of us now. Matt Henry with us from BBC Sport Online. Love this time of the year. We have a great cricket season. Things are reaching a climax day for my beloved Pies. Notts County, 6 games to go. Down the leg side this time from O'Neill. Off the thigh pad of Lees. He's going to run back quickly, and the throw just a little high, so he gets home. 53 for 2. Very watchable, isn't it, Matt? They're getting on with it. There's plenty of runs, and a short boundary and a lightning fast outfield will bring you that. But as they say, every ball's an event. You know, it's not the biggest surprise in the world when O'Neill in particular finds the outside edge, is it?
Yeah, and high quality cricket is high quality county championship cricket, isn't it, really, with international or overseas players on either side.
Bowls again, and a no ball, the first of the season, the first of the summer here at Trent Bridge, bowled by Fergus O'Neill, and 2 added on, 55 for 2. Unusually, unless I've missed it, I don't know that we've had any drastic regulation changes. You very often have to get used to this, that or the other. The bonus points are the same, and this, that and the other. I think most things have stayed the same, haven't they?
I think so. Moving of when the Kookaburra ball's being used, hasn't it? That's all done later in the season now.
O'Neill bowls turned, in fact just a little push and run from Alex Lees. He was almost setting off there before he made connection. It was the final ball of the over. 14 gone, 56 for 2 here on BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sport website and app is where you can find us. We're also on your smart speaker. You can ask your smart speaker to give you commentary of Nottinghamshire versus Durham, day 1. And everybody finding us in the usual places for the pictures via trentbridge.co.uk/live. I think they'll ask you to pop your email address in there to watch the pictures, or people getting it on YouTube as usual. Josh Tong's first over went for 11. He'll be hoping to settle down, having got that one out of the way. Comes in and bowls to Alex Lees, and Lees just turns it to leg for another single.
Lyndon James doing a few stretches down here at slip, isn't he? I wonder whether that's Fergus O'Neill's spell done. An impressive one. What's he bowled here? 7 overs, yeah, 7 overs on the spin. First day of the season. I guess he's not one who's had a winter off, is he, of not playing. He's obviously coming into this on the back of a full winter playing out in Australia, or a full summer, Australian summer playing there. So he's fully up to tune. He's not one who's needs miles in the legs.
Tong into Ackerman, who's on 13, punches this crisply to the Notts captain, Asiba Mead at mid-off. There's no run. So Josh Tong, 27 years of age, long last making his Nottinghamshire debut. He's played 2 test matches for England, both in 2023, both at Lords, weren't they? One against Ireland, one against Australia. This is his 52nd first-class match. Has taken 177 wickets at 25 and a bit apiece. Predominantly for Worcestershire, of course, as he bowls to Ackerman. This is pushed back to him. He's played 5 times against Durham in the past, taken 23 wickets against Durham. Had a 5-for at New Road when Worcestershire played Durham in 2019, and another 5-for at Chesterley Street in 2021. He's only played 2 previous matches here at Trent Bridge, and his 5 wickets have cost him 36 apiece. He'll be looking to bring that down. Here he comes. Where's number 24 for Notts? Bowls wide of the pegs, and it goes through to Joe Clark, who gathers it nicely.
I think he's only played the 1 county championship game since that most recent test that he played, which was the Alex Carey, Johnny Bairstow test at Lords, that second Ashes test, which feels like forever ago, which tells you something about the injury troubles that he's been through. I think he's played a few hundred games since then, hasn't he? In that first class, the match for the Lions, which was a first class match in the winter, but this is only his 2nd county championship match since then.
Comes in again from the Stuart Broad end, bowls to Ackerman, who plays it on the bounce past the bowler, but Hamid does the fielding.
And he was one of England's better bowlers in that game, should I remember rightly. He dismissed David Warner in the first innings when England had let Australia get off to quite a good start with a ball that really nipped back in and hit the top of the stumps. He was bowling really well, good pace, and it's just the thing with Josh Tong is how long can he keep doing it around the injuries.
Similar story with Ollie Stone as well, of course. The injuries ruled him out of this one. This is short and pulled away on the leg side, not properly timed by Colin Ackerman, fielded by Ben Slater. No run, so that was better from Josh Tong. Just a single from it. 2 overs, none for 12.
In game against Durham, Dave Bracegirdle is there for us with an update on all the action.
Yeah, Notts won the toss. They put Durham in and they've picked up a couple of wickets. They've got a couple of players making their debut. Josh Tong into the attack, but before that we saw the Australian Fergus O'Neill, and he's picked up his first 2 wickets in Nottinghamshire colours, getting rid of McKinney for 5 and Gay for 0. 57 for 2.
You can hear ball-by-ball commentary on the BBC Sport website and app.
Quick update for BBC Radio Nottingham. Elsewhere in Division 1 as Lyndon James prepares for his first bowl of the summer. Essex 47 without loss at Chelmsford against Surrey. Yorkshire 56 for 3 at the whatever bowl it is these days, the Utility Bowl at Southampton against Hampshire. Worcestershire 70 for 1 at Taunton. Sussex 50 for 3 at Edgbaston against Warwickshire. I'll give you Division 2 in the mere blink of an eye once Lyndon James has got his first ball out of the way. A lengthy straight approach from this, the Radcliffe Road end. Bowls with a slingy sort of action. Bowls to Lees and he just helps it away down the leg side to move on to 34, 58 for 2. Division 2 at Derby, Gloucestershire the visitors 43 for 2. Glamorgan 42 for 1 at Cardiff against Leicestershire. At Lords, Middlesex 59 for 1 against Lancashire, and Kent 50 for 2 against Northants.
Seen clips of Zach Crawley's stumps being splattered already this morning, which will keep openers across the country, England qualified openers interested across the country, I reckon, in these early few weeks.
James bowls a bit of shape to this one. It swung quite prodigiously away from Colin Ackerman. So we're just past the halfway mark in this morning session. That's a couple of relatively early wickets. For the wickets 22 and 24. If they can get another wicket in the morning session, I think they'll have satisfied the decision of their captain to insert. James bowls again and defended. So not sure the order of the next 2, whether it'll be Will Rhodes and then Ollie Robinson, the talented wicketkeeper batter, or the other way round. Of course, Will Rhodes, another very capable all-rounder. He very often batted 3 as the Warwickshire captain, but put his stint in with the ball as well. Looks as if Durham are going to deploy him more in the middle order. Lyndon James in, and this one wide enough to be left alone. Graham Clark and Ben Rain 7 and 8. Former Nottsman Paul Coghlan. Didn't see too much of Paul in his time here. Lovely fella, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have a bit of a catch up with him during the course of the 4 days. Matt Potts, who has recently been playing international cricket for England quite successfully as well, but not involved recently as this has turned up to mid-on. And George Drissell, former, I think he actually began with Somerset and then Gloucestershire spinner. He's got the spinner's nod ahead of Callum Parkinson. So a number of high-profile absentees. David Beddingham, as we've said, is still with Western Province in South Africa, and the England trio, all various ailments. Mark Wood, Bryden Carson and Ben Stokes not available for this one. 58 for 2. Durham as James bowls, and on the back foot a nice punch from Ackerman. He'll get a single. It was partially stopped, but they still scamper through for another run. 59 for 2.
Yeah, I don't think, from my understanding on the various injuries that Durham have got, I don't think Durham fans will be seeing Bryden Carse, Mark Wood in the near future. I don't think Ben Stokes is going to play many games before that Zimbabwe test, if at all. The suggestion is that Hogg and Connors, the 2 players that they are not too far away. Hogg's got an elbow issue and Connors a side issue. I don't think that they're too far away from being able to play. And then Brendan Doggett is the other one who's not here yet, that Martin mentioned earlier. He should be here soon. And James Minto, the left arm quick. He's only a young lad, 17 I think he is now, and he played a game at the end of last season, got everyone excited with a very sharp bounce that he bowled to Rory Burns. He's got some personal issues he's going through at the minute.
Just Tong bowls, still looking for his first wicket, and it's only a whisker away there. I don't think Colin Ackerman really knew where that had gone. A full pitch delivery just outside off stump, and he jabbed his bat down on it, and it sort of squeezed the pips out of the oranges. He squeezed down on the ball, and it ran back and just missed the leg stump.
Ryan Campbell said when Durham were in Zimbabwe that he still, which was only, 2-3 weeks ago, that he didn't know what his best team was. The batting lineup, at least, when you throw Beddingham into this, Scott Borthwick still around.
59 for 2. Next ball, punch square of the wicket on the offside. Just runs away, just eludes Jack Hames initially, but they don't get a run. Often asked to give a bit of a plug about this, that or t'other, and delighted to, as always, give a plug to the Nottinghamshire Cricket Annual, which has just found its way onto my desk in front of me, published by the Nottingham Cricket Lovers Society, now available from the shop, and I'm sure you'll know all the members. They'll be available online to tell you where to get one from. If you can't get one from the shop, they're available in reception and the main club shoppers. This one's eased into the offside, but it really is a magnificent body of work put together by, as always, the Nottingham Cricket Lovers Society. There's obviously detailed looks back on obviously all three competitions last year that the Nottinghamshire men's side played in. There's a comprehensive body of work on the blaze, lots and lots of photographs, many of them in colour, and then obviously there's all the domestic game, all the various club sides in Nottinghamshire, the various age groups, the youngsters, the academies, all the work by the community. There'll be lots of features. I can tell you more once I've read it, but rest assured over the next few days, and particularly away matches, I'll take it with me and I read every single word, and it's well worth the £10 that it's on sale for. The Nottinghamshire Cricket Annual 2025. Look out for it. It's got a picture of a Seba Mead on the cover, Brett Hutton on the back cover, advertising a bat, but it is a magnificent body of work as always. 60 for 2 here as the left-handed Lees punches it square of the wicket, and there's no run. Dr. Dan has sent another of his sketches through, which I think Martin sort of forwards on to the relevant people or retweets, and he says it's Emilio Gay's duck that he's been sketching this morning. 60 for 2. Lee's 34. Stands with his bat held aloft and then brings it down within the vicinity of the ball, but not close enough to nick it through to Joe Clark. It was a nervy-ish start from Josh Tong, wasn't it? His first 2 balls were short and they were just swatted away for boundaries, but since then he's been right on it. Yeah,
that was better, much better. One in the last over that beat the bat, one there that had Lee's just poking at it outside our stump. Yeah, like I said earlier, it bowls well to left-handers. Bowled particularly well to Usman Khawaja and David Warner in that most recent test that he played. So yeah, these promising signs for Notts and obviously for any England fans as well.
There's Lyndon James as Martin returns to join us, having updated the good folk in the northeast. I'm sure Martin was out there last Sunday celebrating in front of St James Park with all the fans. I bet you were there as well, Matt, weren't you?
No comment. I'm impartial.
Lyndon James comes in to bowl to the right-handed Ackerman, eases it up onto the offside. Are you back with us?
It's a bit embarrassing, Dave, for you to suggest that and ignoring the fact Sunderland were beating Millwall at home that day. I thought you knew your football. It's not on. Your light gone off? There's no power in there, is there? We've silenced Dave. Didn't think I'd see the day. What time is it? 11 minutes past 12 on the 4th of April.
I'm back.
Oh.
I don't know what happened there.
I think the power just went off. James bowling here from the Radcliffe Road end, right arm over bowling to Ackerman, who's on 15. He's gone through to the keeper. A bit of a good response from Durham since these two got together, because they lost Ben McKinney on 5 and then Emilio Gay going for an 8-ball duck. And I'll have a bit of milk in mine, Dave.
Right.
What is it?
Tea?
Tea.
You want a bit of tea?
No, I'm alright. I've got water over here. It sounded nice as you were pouring it there.
Good. Sound effects.
James bowls. Spits up a little bit there, and Ackerman fends it away one-handed to point.
I know we've only just started this one, but where are you next week?
Durham home to Warwickshire. And then they're home the week after that as well.
Well, I was just going to...
I already can't remember who that's against.
Yorkshire, that's the Yorkshire game we were talking about earlier, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, the reason I asked is Notts are at home to Essex next week. Notts are at home 4 of the first 5. Yeah. You know, if they can just get a bit of home advantage here, it could set them up nicely.
James bowls to Ackerman, and he's swiped at that one. He's got an edge, and it's away over the slip cordon and up to the building site at the far end of the ground. It's gone for 4.
The old spot the ball in the evening newspapers competition, the spot the ball. I don't think anybody had been winning any prizes for that one. Everybody would have been looking to leg there as he tried to pull it away, gets a top edge over the slips.
So Durham are now 64 for 2, Ackerman 19, Lees has 34. Is there a partnership sign up there? Yes, there is 40. Partnership's 40.
It'll be there somewhere.
63 balls. You mentioned spot the ball, and I shared this on Facebook again recently. There were my Auntie Sue used to be a features writer for the Sunderland Echo in the 70s and the 80s, and I think it was Turner Films who were a company in the northeast. Starting you over here. Bowling, dot ball. Turner Films made this documentary about the Sunderland Echo in about 1984, something like that. It was called Your City, Your Newspaper. And watching that again now, knowing what the sales figures are for local newspapers now compared to the readership numbers back then, like 250,000. And the Spot the Ball team, there's about 30 women in this office with piles and piles of letters coming in from people entering Spot the Ball. I couldn't believe that. Is this your end?
I beg your pardon, yeah. Lees turns this away on the leg side for a single, 65 for 2. Yeah,
must have been a massive money raiser, that, must
well, not only that, but there must have been some huge secrecy whoever chose the photograph for the Spot the Ball, and you know that's going to be this week's picture, and then obviously blanked out the ball or did what they needed to do.
Do you know what we're talking about, Matt?
I'm aware of it, but I've not got much to contribute here, I'll be honest.
Well, there'd be a photograph of a football match, and the ball would be removed.
I was a match
and
magazine.
you had to put a cross
where
you think the ball was, but it would cost you, wouldn't it? Like 50p for 100 crosses. As this is eased into the offside, and you think, well, you must get it. You must have covered it with that. But
didn't the cross have to be right in the centre of the ball?
Yeah.
People say the youth of today waste their money. I mean, come on.
Who needs video games when you can put 100 crosses on your newspaper?
Yeah, the more crosses you had, the more you paid. But
that's right. Yeah.
I presume these things just ran for a period until it was decided, right, there's enough money in the prize fund now, we'll pay out.
But I never thought about it before. As Tom comes in, bowls a bounce that's very high, and it's called a no ball as it goes through to Ackerman. I mean, obviously the photographer would have supplied the newspaper, so he would have known where the ball was, and don't you put it on, but you tell your cousins, sisters, brothers, uncle that it's just above the... I bet there were some scurrilous misdoings going on with regards to that. 67 for 2. You get them in the old... It's the football post here as well. This is pushed into the offside. That's another thing that obviously we don't have these days. I presume there was... What was it in the northeast? The pink and the green and just
the football echo was pink.
See, unless you missed the on the old sports report on the radio, you wouldn't know what the football scores were until the Sunday morning papers. So everybody used to go and get the football special, as it was called, 67 for 2, and leg side ball worked away on the leg side, and there'd be in the stop press there'd be the latest cricket scores as well.
Used to go to the Harbour View after a game, and the little newsagents on the corner at about 10 to 6, there'd be a queue of people marching out of the pub and standing in the newsagent's doorway waiting for the footy echo to arrive. And then they'd all rush back in to sit back down with their pints to see what had happened around the country.
Terrific thing, really, to have it, sort of on the streets, certainly of Nottingham, before 6 p.m. Matches finishing just before 5. This is nicely fielded by Slater at backward point. Good bit of work there, end of the over. Lee's 35, Ackerman on his birthday 20. Guess one of us ought to look up and see how old he is. I know it's his birthday. I saw Durham tweet first thing this morning. Happy birthday, Colin Ackerman.
He is
68 for 2, but might be worth
34.
34 today. Is but a babe. 2 wickets to Fergus O'Neill. We've had 4 bowlers bowled this morning. O'Neill and Pennington getting things underway for Notts after Asiba Mead won the toss and put Durham in, and we've had Tong, and now here's Lyndon James and Martin.
Bowls here around about off stump, played up to Hamid at mid off no run there. Hartlepool Mail they had a footy Mail as well, I think, didn't they? Hartlepool Mail?
Yeah, I remember speaking during my university days. I spoke to you mentioned like the readership of the Hartlepool Mail or the local papers back then. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
The numbers it was.
Well, you used to times it by 3. So when I worked on the Shields Gazette in 1990, as Ola comes in here, that's gone down the leg side, and that's just a deft little flick there from Ackerman
For 6.
and it's gone for 6 to that short boundary. He just looked like he was just pitching a ball over a bunker onto a green there, didn't he?
It's
Effortless.
not a big hit, but
No.
it doesn't need to be a big hit to get over that boundary. But he's middled that.
50 partnership.
Absolutely.
72 balls. Durham needed that. Lee's dropped earlier in the innings as well. So it's gone down to the gully, no run there. He dropped on 17, so he's now on 35. Yeah, the last ABC figures I saw was quite a while ago, and the Hartlepool Mail's become a weekly paper now, but it was down to 6,000 sales a day. I think the Shields Gazette used to have a readership of 99,000 for such a tiny borough, one of the smallest boroughs in the country. So they used to sell around about 33,000 a day. Here comes James. Ackerman defends. The ball rolls back to the bowler. 74 for 2 to score. But I mean, in those days, you had all the shipyards along the Tyne, and I mean, everybody coming out the shipyards straight through into the town centre to buy their papers.
The stories go of how you'd buy one and then you pass it over the fence into your next door neighbour, and then they'd read yours, and that's where you end up multiplying it by 3. But different world, I guess.
Or if if it's a family home, husband and wife read it or whatever. And then maybe one of the kids. Played this off the legs here. Ackerman out through towards deep mid wicket. He's going to get 2. It's gone towards Carroll corner. He might get 3. No, he's just going to get 2. I suppose if you put the paper in the dog's basket as a lining for the basket, would the dog be classed as a reader as well?
90,000 people, 2,000 dogs.
Yeah.
It's been a good signing for Durham, hasn't he, Ackerman? It feels like he's a bit of balance to the other aggressive players that they have in their top. Like Ollie Robinson likes to get on with it. We see McKinney come in and gets on with it. Lee's, we saw it when he was with England. He's done the same a lot of the time with Durham.
That's gone down the leg side, missed by the keeper. It was a very wideish delivery, and that has gone away for 4 leg byes. That's why it was wider. The keeper had clicked the pad on the way through. Yeah, well, how many runs did he get last year? I've got it in my notes somewhere.
Yeah, not been Lyndon's morning, has it? He's gone for 14 runs from his 3 overs, and of course he was the one that spilled Alex Lees a little earlier.
743 he got last year, including 150. Where has that gone? He got 157 last week against the Uni.
Going to be Josh Tong to continue. 3 overs, none for 14. Bowling to the Durham captain, Lees. 3 slips, go down, and Lees rocks back, just cuts it into the cover region where Jack Haynes does the fielding. Haynes Still without a Nottinghamshire century. Got a lot of 50s, 60s and 70s last season. Didn't go on, played in all the county championship matches. We'll be looking to put that right this time around and get a 3-figure score and then kick on from there. 80 for 2 Durham on a lovely morning. Afternoon at Trent Bridge. Lees gets it to the left of Haynes and he's got to turn and sprint after it. I think the ball's going to win that race out towards the Fox Road stand. It does, and another boundary for Lees moves him on to 39. And we know he's a high quality performer, and he's looked it on this opening day of the new season.
Lees had confidence he'd middle that. He didn't move, did he, after hitting it initially, and the fielder went sprint. For a little while I thought the fielder was going to get to that and Lees had end up looking silly, only taken one for a shot that deserved 4 and may have only dribbled towards there and not quite reached it, but he knew, I guess, off the bat that it had more than enough to get there.
Essex 75 without loss against Surrey. Tall Paul is opening the batting for them, Paul Walter, and he likes to give it a bit of a wallop. He's 50 not out. A little bit of a change there. I read a preview wondering who would be Edgar's opening partner, as this is cut away on the offside, and there's going to be more runs to Lees, 4 more. In fact, the ball has stopped. That is unbelievable. Must just have caught a, I don't know, a clump of grass or something, but it slowed up considerably. There's a mat out there, yeah. Whether it hit that and slowed up, but the ball just absolutely ground to a halt about 6 inches from the line. And
there's no, obviously on the square, there's no drainage caps, is there?
Not on the square, no, but it just pulled up astonishingly short. 85 for 2.
Home advantage you've managed to gain over the winter too. Things popping out the ground to stop the ball going to the boundary. Yeah,
so Walter with a half century there. I see Edgar's not playing actually. Whether he's another one that's had to stay in South Africa, I'm not sure. But Essex have made a fine start. 76 without loss at Chelmsford. They come here next week, Essex.
Is there a reason, Dave, why there are 4 home games out of 5? Is it anything to do with the building site or not?
I presume it's the fact that the first test is here, isn't it, against Zimbabwe, right. And they'll want Notts away whilst that's going on and whilst the 100's going on. Well, there'll be no championship matches then, but 85 for 2. I would imagine the test's got a lot to do with it.
Not to have white ball games against the dude. I'm testing you here. Sorry. Have they got a white ball game, that West Indies series after Christmas? Or is there one of those after Zimbabwe? One of those here as well?
May well be. I'll come back to you on that. 85 for 2. Ackerman on strike on 26. Defends this back. Yorkshire back in Division 1, end of the over 85 for 2 after 21, and 67 for 3 down at Southampton. Lythe, Mr Bean and Wharton are the 3 to be dismissed down there. David Milan and Johnny Bairstow at the crease for Yorkshire.
Can't see one. There's a game in Birmingham, there's one in Durham.
No, I don't think there is.
No, it's back end. It's South Africa that are here, aren't they? Which is the back of the white ball series at the back end of the summer.
The question about Italian cricketers, so Emilio Gay playing for Italy, and
Wayne Madsen,
Michael Di Venuto,
Dave Bracegirdle.
I've never heard of him.
Joe Burns, Australia's played for Italy.
Start of the 22nd over, and that has gone through everybody, and it's away for 4. It's come off the bat as well from Lees, off the bowling of James. Keeper went one way, slips the other, and it's gone up to the pavilion end for 4. So Lees moves on to 44 from 55 balls, dropped on 17. Durham 89 for 2 here on the BBC. A reminder as well, you can ask most smart speakers, apparently some aren't that smart by the accounts, to play day 1 of Notts v Durham on BBC Sound. So it's another way to listen to us, just in case you're into that kind of thing. This is an aggressive drive to a slightly shortish ball from Lees, and that's gone through the offside for 4 more. He went after that one. I didn't trust our smart speaker because it obviously listens to everything, doesn't it? And I stuck it in a drawer. I don't know where it is now.
The Yellow Belly's been in touch. Morning, everybody. Looking good so far for Notts. Pennington has bowled tight this morning. O'Neill looked decent. Tong settled down after his opening over. And we haven't even seen the spinner yet for Han Ahmed. Might have an over of him before lunch.
Next ball is pushed away by Lees up to Ahmed. William Dobson's been on. He says, my recollection of Spot the Ball was they weren't actually allowed to use the real position of the ball for the very reason Dave identified. So a panel had to decide where they thought it should be.
Crikey. Just a 53-year-old's been in touch. Lots of emojis about the Fergus O'Neill initial spell. That's what he sees there. Thank you very much for getting in touch.
Stephen says, the football pink, why did that not get a mention? Well, that was the Newcastle paper. In comes James. It's gone up towards the bowler's end, no run.
Amit loses his hat, cap.
He needs a bit of elastic on that.
I've been saying that for 5 years.
One of those that wears a very faded cap, and I think that must be his original one from his very first game, I assume, is it? Because you look at the difference between Tongue playing his first game, bright green. Hasib's is a mucky, almost brown colour.
93 for 2. James bowls. Ooh, bit of a leading edge there from Lees. He was looking to play that back towards the bowler's end, and it's gone off to mid-wicket, but he gets a run. Throw his head up into the air there as he ran there. He obviously thought he got a bit of a life. So he's on 49, Ackerman 28. The partnership is worth, I would tell you, but they've taken, there it is, 70. I thought they'd taken it off the board for a minute. 94 for 2 the score. Last ball of the 22nd over here on the BBC.
So we've got a whole host of Friday starts to begin with. Do we like that? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
I'm old enough to remember when they had that years ago. As James comes in, bowls, it's defended by Ackerman, runs up to mid-on, end of the over, 94 for 2. And then supposedly, about 2012, something like that, there was a survey in which we were told 250,000 people had been surveyed by the ECB as to when they wanted county championship matches to start. And it was decided there wouldn't be any across a weekend because too many people were involved with their club cricket. But I don't know anyone who filled that survey in.
Then we had... for a number of years we had Sunday starts, didn't we?
Yeah, there's been Thursday starts, Thursday, Friday.
We don't like those because you just don't know if you're going to be. I mean, the worst one is the Wednesday start, isn't it? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because nobody knows if you're going to be able to plan to go to the cricket on the Saturday or not in terms of spectators. We're going to have a fifth bowler. We're going to have pace off. We're going to have Farhan Ahmed, 17 years of age. Previews have described him as potentially a generational talent. Brother of Riyadh, of course.
Wasn't he the youngest player to get a 5 in the county championship?
I suspect he was youngest. Well, he was youngest to get a 10 for, wasn't he? Last year, just 5 first-class matches, 25 wickets at 23 apiece, best of 7 for 140. That was against Surrey on debut. Nottingham born, just an astonishing cricketing family.
His dad play as well.
Yeah.
Jamie O'Donnell's emailed. He's usually in Glasgow, he says, but I'm now listening from my wee button Ben on the Isle of Cumbrae. Brackets working from home. Wonder what a button Ben is.
I don't know.
Buffy or something.
I don't know. So it's Farhan Ahmed from the Stuart Broad end, Pavilion end. Doesn't appear to be any work going on. Certainly no banging and clattering. Can't see any workmen. He comes into Alex Lees. One slip. First ball just short enough for Lees to rock back and cut into the offside for a couple of runs. Slater with the arm into the bowler's end, and Durham move on to 98, and Alex Lees brings up his 50. Very well battered, Alex Lees. 92 minutes, 60 balls and 8 fours. High quality performer. 60 balls, 8 fours. It's funny, I used to think of him for years and years and years and years and years as Adam Lythe's opening partner. But he was still relatively, cricketing terms, a young man when he made the journey north from Headingley to Chesterley Street. Plays this to mid-on, there's no run. And I don't think it's incorrect to say he's actually just got better and better and better, hasn't he? He's a high-quality performer. Works this on the leg side. Durham's captain. 96 for 2. Light aeroplane goes over the ground. Wonder if there won't be as many this year, light aeroplanes going over the ground. I think, is it Tollerton Airport that's closed in the winter? I think they called it Nottingham Airport.
It's closed down completely.
This one's eased into the offside. I think so. I mean, obviously it's still East Midlands away to our right.
Yeah, Syeston's an RAF base, isn't it?
Yeah. You get a lot of the youngsters there. Just getting a little bit of experience with the gliders, and they go up in the. I think is it still the Bulldogs, the first training aircraft, sort of the first powered aeroplane after the glider. They still use that for the cadets. 96 for 2. Last ball was mistimed into the offside. No run. Some of the Durham contingency away to our left. Graham Onions, Marcus North, Ryan Campbell, is it, away to our left, having a all around the boundary edge as Farhan pushes this through, defended by Lees. 96 for 2. A couple of runs from that over. One thing we did see last year was when Farhan comes on to bowl, he very often doesn't come off to bowl. He bowls some marathon spells. Let's see how we go here. 96 for 2. We've had 23 overs and we've got about 25 minutes left to lunch.
The road that runs behind the stand there, is that the Bridgeford Road?
Bridgeford Road, yeah. Down into West Bridgeford.
In comes James, start of a new over from the Radcliffe Road end. Played by Ackerman out to mid-wicket for 1.
He's got his debut century, Lyndon James, against Durham up at Chesterley Street a few years ago. Got a ton here last time Durham came that match at the end of the 22 season, where Notts just racked up the runs and kept on going.
In comes James. Ooh, playing a miss or an inside edge there. Didn't look right at all. It bobbled through to the keeper. He's on strike.
Lyndon James 79 first class wickets now at 35 or so apiece. Nearing 2,500 runs. 33. 4 first class hundreds.
Big leap into the air as he comes in the bowl. Leads forward to this one, plays it up to Hamid. It's mid-off, dot ball. 97 for 2 the score.
26 now. Lyndon made his debut here right at the end of the 2018 summer. Home match against Essex. Been shuttled up and down the order since then. Word is he'll probably bat 7 in this particular game.
Slower ball, and that nearly catches Lees out. He's chopped it down into the ground. It's bounced away from the stumps. It's gone to a sort of backward square leg position. He didn't know where the ball was there, but he does get a single. Durham finished the over on 98 for 2.
Thanks to everybody that's taken the time to get in touch this morning. Still working away through them. At Brace Cricket on the old Twittery thing, or Weir Cricket at Yahoo. At Yahoo?
Yeah.
.co.uk.
Oh, that wasn't the end of the over. Sorry, I thought the over had finished there. I'm ahead of myself. This has gone for 2. Has it gone for 4?
All the way.
It's gone for
all the
4.
way, yeah.
It's gone for 4 off Ackerman, down to vacant third man. And that brings the 100 up for Durham. 102 for 2. And their partnership is now worth 78. Ackerman has 33 of those.
Yes, plenty of work for Notts to do today, and they really would like to end this partnership sooner rather than later. Already mentioned the likes of Ollie Robinson, Will Rhodes to come, Ben Rain, Graham Clark, high quality performers.
James to Ackerman, snuffs that away, just gets right on top of it and just plays it safely into the ground. End of the over then, so we now are definitely telling you now, categorically at the end of that over. 102 for 2.
Driscoll getting the nod over Callum Parkinson.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the pre-season matches, but he's also got a couple of knocks of 80 and 81, I think it was, against Zimbabwe in a first-class match, so that might be part of the reason. Equally, they might feel this pitch just suits him better.
So Farhan Ahmed to continue from the pavilion end, the broad end. Bowling to Alex Lees. Drives crisply back on the bounce to the bowler. And there's no run. Essex have now lost a wicket. It's Charlie Allison, 85 for 1 against Surrey. Yorkshire have lost a 4th, 89 for 4 against Hampshire. And it's Johnny Bairstow out for 10. Farhan Ahmed bowls, and Lees has hit this to mid-on, and Farhan Ahmed gets his first wicket of the summer, and Lees goes. Reached his half-century, was dropped earlier on, and now he's just chipped this up to mid-on. And Durham are 102 for 3, and that partnership ends at 78, and it's Fergus O'Neill, can't keep him out of the action, taking a comfortable catch. Durham 102 for 3. Alex Lees caught O'Neill, bowled Ahmed for 52. Lees at the crease for an hour and 40 minutes, faced 70 balls and hit 8 fours. Just obviously Martin thought that was floated up there, and his eyes lit up. Thought he was going to slam it down into the empty seats in front of the pavilion, but just mistimed it slightly, dragged it onto the leg side
of the bat.
Yeah. And into the hands of O'Neill, and we've seen he can bowl, we now know he can catch, and Farhan Ahmed, we also saw last year, he likes a celebration as well, and Notts have their first wicket from the pavilion end this season, their first wicket for spin, 102 for 3 in the 25th over. The new man on his way out to the middle is Ollie Robinson, coming in ahead of Will Rhodes, the wicket-keeper batter, who likes to get on with things, generally speaking. I'm not sure at almost 1:15 whether he'll look to get on with things before lunch, but Notts have got their 3rd wicket. T, go young whiz, he says. Needed the obligatory 3rd wicket before lunch. Absolutely right, T. Notts will be very pleased to end that stand. Ackerman still there on 33, but the 3 lefties at the top of the order have all now gone.
Robinson got some big scores last year.
There's Farhan Ahmed then to bowl to him, and just gently plays from the crease, pushes it back to the bowler.
171 not out at Blackpool, 167 not out the year before at Leicester. Got an England call-up in the winter to go as cover for Jordan Cox, but didn't actually play in New Zealand, haven't travelled there.
Next ball played into the covers, no run. Ahmed in again, slip. waiting. Seabermead's coming fairly close, shortish mid-wicket. It's he who does the fielding as it's dropped on the leg side. Durham 102 for 3 as we near lunch on the first day of the county cricket season. Lovely to have cricket back, lovely to have, dare we call it, cricket weather back as well. Farhan Ahmed passed on by Nigel Long, bowls, and Ollie Robinson again happy to block. A wicket maiden then for Farhan Ahmed. He's up and running here. 2 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 2. 102 for 3. Notts with plenty of riches with regards to the slow bowling berth, but I think Calvin Harrison and Liam Patterson-White might just have to wait a while for the appropriate surface before they get an opportunity. Farhan Ahmed having shown what he can do already, and his wicket thanks to a catch from Fergus O'Neill, who's coming back for a second tilt just before lunch, replacing Lyndon James. Steve Crawley says, first point, are we top of the league? Well, joint top, Steve, joint top. I think Warwickshire have got a point as well. They got 3 Yorkshire wickets, didn't they? Here we go then. O'Neill back.
Bowling to Ackerman on 33. Ackerman plays it up to Hamid at mid-off. It's a dot ball. I've had that many messages this morning.
Yeah.
There's tons of them, so sorry if I haven't read any of your messages out and not even seen half of them. martycricket.bsky.social if you want to join me on B-Sky.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Plenty have. Dave's staying in that other place. O'Neill bowls. Oh, an attempted late cut there from Ackerman to a quicker delivery, and he's played and missed it.
It's a bit of a waft, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit dangerous in the circumstances when we're approaching lunch, and he's just seen Lees go for 52. First bowling point of the game for Notts after they reached 3 wickets. Next one at 6 and then the next one at 9. And he comes again, bowls. That's gone down the leg side. He's appealing for LBW. The keeper got across to a daisy cutter and managed to get a hand on it and stop it. No run. What's the cut off for bonus points now? 110?
110 overs, yeah.
It was 120, wasn't it?
Oh, it's not been that for...
Only 2 years.
No, it's been 110 since I've been doing it.
Oh, well, it's now 100
since we've been doing ball by ball, it's been 110.
Oh, that was what they changed, wasn't it? It was when you get the bonuses for the bat. That was it, sorry. Dot ball there, it's gone to short mid-wicket. Yeah, I knew they'd done something with it in the back of my head. So you used to get your first batting point at 200, and it's now 250. That was what they changed.
Stand by for an announcement. Stand by for an announcement. Producer Kirsty's been in touch. If you're watching the pictures at lunch, you're going to have to turn off and reboot. I'll tell you why in a second.
O'Neill to Ackerman. Ackerman plays the ball into the covers, no run.
A few people earlier on mentioned the sound a little tinny. I jokingly said that was Martin, but producer Kirsty is going to try and sort out the gremlins at lunch, which will mean she's going to switch everything off at this end, which will mean if you just turn yours off, and before we come back at 20 to 2, if you want to continue watching the pictures, you'll just have to give it a bit of a refresh or reboot or whatever you do. But producer Kirsty is going to turn the pictures off and then sort out the problem during lunch.
O'Neill to Ackerman. Ackerman steers that wide of mid-on. It's heading towards the corner of the ground down to our right, and it slows up dramatically on a strip that's been used for the nets, but it does manage to limp over the rope for 4. So that takes him on to 37. Have they added it on already? Yes, they have. And Durham 106 for 3. Joe Burton's been on Blue Sky. He says, going back to a message sent in earlier, wasn't a Butt and Ben a sort of Scottish holiday home? That was always my interpretation. Reading Ur Woolley and the Bruins as a kid. Oh, well, there you go.
I've not spent enough of my life in Scotland. I've only been there a few times for football, been up to the golf a couple of times, but not spent enough time really in Scotland.
Which courses?
I went as far an Ahmed, let me think. I went to the one on the West Coast where they had Troon. I went to an open at Troon as this is driven down the ground. First ball of foreign arm is new over, and Ollie Robinson gets off the mark with an elegant drive down into the boards in front of the unused pavilion. And for 3 or 4 years we went to the Dunhill Links on the other coast, and they play there at Kingsbarns, Carnoustie and St Andrews. So,
that's Kingsbarns. There's 5 courses around there, isn't there?
Beautiful.
Yeah, lovely
beautiful,
area. That's sort of North Berwick.
But not really spent any time in Edinburgh to have a wander round, or even less Glasgow. This is
it's all Harry Potter shops now.
Well, I've been to Hampden, but I haven't been to either Celtic or Rangers. I've been to Hearts, but not Hibs in Edinburgh. But I've not been to much of the rest of Scotland. Lots to see and explore. Must do it one day. Next ball is defended by Ollie Robinson. He's on 4, 110 for 3. So
you've never lived, Dave, unless you've slept on a bag of gonks in a B&B in Fife in the middle of June. It's a set off with a teddy bear van full of toys. Go and do all the bingo halls and fairgrounds. Quite comfortable, a bag of gonks.
Far on. Bowls to Robinson. He's just eased this into the gap on the offside between the two of the former Worcestershire contingent, Tong and Haynes. 4 former Worcestershire players out there, with Clark and Pennington being the other 2. There's no wonder the Worcestershire fans get a bit grisly with Notts, isn't there? Really. Nelson on the board, he says, for the first time in 2025. Ackerman is on 37 on his birthday. And it goes down into a rather ugly looking position. I thought he was going to go down and try and sweep Farn Ahmed, and the ball wasn't there to do that. So almost down on one knee, just paddled it to mid-wicket, no run.
Craig Porritt says, great to have the cricket season and the gang all back together.
Nelson for 3. We're in the 27th over of the morning session, first morning of the new season, as Ackerman again defends. Another over comes and goes. Elsewhere, Yorkshire lose a 5th wicket. They're 96 for 5. Other Division 1 scores quickly. Essex 98 for 1 against Surrey. Worcestershire 103 for 3 at Taunton. Sussex 86 for 3 at Edgbaston. Division 2, Gloucestershire 74 for 4 at Derby. Glamorgan 87 for 3 at home to Leicestershire. Middlesex 114 for 1 at home to Lancashire. And Kent 116 for 3 at Wantage Road.
Craig says, it's great to have cricket on the radio. Shorts and t-shirt weather. It feels like the middle of summer, not the beginning of April. There is a bit of a breeze from the northeast, I think, today, but they are expecting highs here of about 18, 19 degrees. I think that the North Sea is still a giant fridge at this time of year, so it might be a little bit cooler up in the northeast. Fergus O'Neill starts anew over here, bowling to Ollie Robinson, who's on 5. The keeper takes that one. We're into the 28th over.
This will be your first county championship match here since the Dave Bracegirdle retirement home was built away to our right, obscuring our view.
Yeah,
the monstrosity that it
just see one chimney top. That's now shut down, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
power station.
Ratcliffe on Soul.
Yep.
O'Neill bowls Robinson back foot, cuts the ball out into the covers. No run there.
Nobody up on
the
roof garden looking and having a free glimpse at the cricket.
I tell you now, Dave, I'm looking up there and I'm seeing pound signs and all that glass balustrade, because we've just been getting a price for that, and it is very expensive stuff. I was rather shocked. Third ball of the over. O'Neill to Robinson. Big stride back into the crease there. He cuts at that one. Plays it off to Slater again. So that is open then. People are living in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that where you are going to end up in there in your fairy slippers?
There'd be worse places, wouldn't there? You can apparently see, we've had a friend of a regular correspondent was actually part of the, I don't know, the electrical, did the electrics in there or the furbishings, and sent some photos from the top. You can't see into the ground.
That is a very good leave from Robinson. He went back into his crease again, let the ball go. That looked like it was just having a sniff of the top of the off stump there. I like those flats at Taunton. I think they'd be nice. And they've got this community area on the roof, haven't they?
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah, but they've got balconies where you can.
Sunroom.
You don't have to. You don't have to mingle, do you? You just sit on your own balcony and watch the cricket. Same at Bristol.
Yeah. And then some houses overlooking Chelmsford. O'Neill bowls to Robinson. It's round about hip high. He flicks it away, short on the leg side, no run. 111 for 3 still. Cricket Sove sent us a photograph from Spain where it's overcast and looks like it's raining. Too far south.
As ever, people spread all around the ground. There's plenty in the Fox Road stand, and the cricket's a mile away from where they're sat.
Next ball is out to Slater once again on the offside. It's a no ball. So there's a run. 2 runs, of course. Yeah. 113 for 3.
The Hound Road stand being used as the members area this year.
Neil Oxley's joined Blue Sky to follow us. Follow me. He agrees about the other place, he says. Might be something to do with the algorithms, maybe. In comes O'Neill again. Dot ball to end the over. So just the 2 runs from the no ball from that over. We've got 6 minutes to go to lunch. Dr. Dan's now sent a picture of the Medio Gay looking back at the keeper after he is out for an 8th ball duck. That's quite a good one. We've had a check-in from the Rhubarb Triangle from Stuart Dick. Rhubarb Triangle checking in from the Super Bowl champion supporting Philadelphia Eagles fan.
We don't want any of that sort of talk on here.
And then he says, Dave will know what I mean.
Yeah,
that was directed right at you, Dave, wasn't it? Did that cut like a knife?
It did. We don't want any of that sort of talk.
Is that the American rugby competition?
Farhan Ahmed. 3 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 7. To bowl to Colin Ackerman. 37 not out, and more runs here. It'll go for 4. Just a shortish bunt into the offside for 4. Out to that 50-yard boundary, and first ball slightly over pitch from Farhan. 117 for 3.
Stuart and Tina Morley listening. Hi Marty, good to hear you on the live feed. Hope you wintered well. Hopefully we will see you next week.
It's on turned on the leg side. A little bit Chesterley Street, where
they travel up from Pocklington for the home games. You know where Pocklington is?
Not really, no.
It's down near Market Wheaton, south side of York.
I'm going to say that. Right, I've heard of York.
The Humber.
117 for 3. Next ball is pushed up to mid-off, and there's no run.
I'll tell you what you will have heard of around there, knowing your connections. Full Sutton Prison. It's a big prison out in the Yorkshire Wolds.
No, I don't. Next ball, defender. There's an RAF station out there just the other side of York on the way to Scarborough. Saxton Wold. That was out there. Yeah, Chesterley Street, where Martin knows a man who takes his dog to the games in a pram. That always entertains me.
I have to say, I've never met that man. I have to see that. And to be honest, I can't recall that pram last year.
Farhan bowls to the former Leicestershire man, Colin Ackerman. 117 for 3, Durham, as we close in on lunch. A reminder, if you're watching the pictures, Kirsty's going to do things at this end will necessitate the live stream being taken down, so you'll have to give it a bit of a reboot when we restart again around about 20 to 2 if you're going to come back and join us, which I hope you will. 117 for 3. Next ball played again into the offside by Ackerman, who got a boundary at the start of the over, and that was all. And not so racing around quickly. They've bowled 29 overs. There's enough time to get one more in as we are within about 2 minutes of the luncheon interval.
Ed Harry says he's joined Blue Sky specifically so I can keep up to date with Durham season. And you are my first follow on here. And Mr. FH Bear says, ooh, sometimes you have to pick from the games based on who the commentary team is. Not always the players on the pitch, and this seems to be that occasion. Well, thank you very much for that. And on that note, I've got to go and do an update next door.
Well, from Martin and indeed from Matt Henry after lunch. I'll just try and chaperone you through the final over of the session, bowled by Fergus O'Neill. He's got 2 of the 3 wickets. The first ball is just deflected on the leg side by O. Robinson. I'm not sure there's another Robinson in the Durham squad, but he's O. Robinson on the board for reasons best known to somebody. We know there's another Robinson in the game that I can instantly think of, but he's also O. Robinson, the Sussex and former England bowler. There's O'Neill to bowl to O. Robinson. Good delivery and some very gentle appealing being done by those behind the wicket as it passes the outside edge. Nestles in the gloves of Joe Clarke, who's been good. 2 catches for Clarkey today. Wasn't necessarily expecting to keep wicket this season with Carverena being signed. Tom Moore's now on a white ball only contract. O'Neill in once more. Robinson lets it go through to Clarke. 3 slips. Backward point, extra cover, mid-off on the offside, and fairly regulation leg side of mid-on, mid-wicket, and the man behind square on that short boundary. Trent Bridge dressed for the occasion. The sun is out, it looks beautiful as Robinson on 5 works this up to Josh Tong at mid-on, and there's no run by Nigel Long, just having a little word with Fergus O'Neill about where his feet were landing there. Cries of come on Fergie from somebody down there on the field. He's got a long sleeve shirt on, or in fact it's a short sleeved shirt I can see on the pictures, but with the white elastic undergarment on, so it looks like he's got a long sleeve shirt on. A little push up to Hamid for the single. 1 more to the total, 118 for 3. So Durham very close to a run a minute in the opening 2 hours of the season. Notts have picked up a bowling bonus point for taking 3 wickets. We've got 1 ball left in the session. Robinson will go to lunch unless there's a stupid run out or something. On 6 not out, Ackerman is on strike on 41, last ball of the session. O'Neill 2 for 31. Bowles now squares his man up, but safely negotiated. And that should be that. Just waiting for the official confirmation from the umpires. Nottinghamshire players are just starting to drift, and now they're all walking, yes, towards the Radcliffe Road end. Somebody out there has decided it is time, and it will be lunch. And that is it, folks. We've somehow managed to get through the first 2 hours of the season with Durham on 118 for 3. 30 overs have been bowled. Fergus O'Neill 2 for 31 from his 10 overs. The other wicket has gone to Farhan Ahmed, 1 for 11 from 4. Top scorer for Durham, Alex Lees, made 52. Before that, Ben McKinney out for 5. Clarke bowled O'Neill. That was the same manner of dismissal for Emilio Gay. Clarke bowled O'Neill for 0. Those wickets going down at 22 and 24. The third wicket went down on 102. Lees caught at mid-off by Fergus O'Neill from the bowling of Farhan Ahmed. Ackerman at the interval 41 not out. Ollie Robinson is 6 not out. Thank you for sharing the opening passage of the 2025 season with us. Again, another reminder, sorry for doing it, but if you are watching the pictures, they will be taken down, given a bit of a reboot, so we can just sort out 1 or 2 gremlins, or Kirsty can sort out 1 or 2 gremlins during the luncheon interval, so you'll need to reboot at your end before we restart. So Durham 118 for 3. Thanks Matt Henry and Martin Emerson. They'll be back with me when we start again at 20 to 2. Hope you'll come back and join us then.